to another Transformational Conversation. Thank you so much for joining us today as we take the conversation around spirituality, consciousness, laws of the universe, and so much more beyond the leading edge. And boy, have we got some leading edge stuff today. Stick around because we're talking today to Izabella. Now, Izabella is an emotional magnificence facilitator. She has written more than 10 books, and she's a deeper relating supporter. She's facilitated hundreds of one-on-one residential retreats focusing on mental and emotional wellness over 12 years. And she loves to share her personal insights from the wild adventures she lives. And she does live wild adventures. So welcome, Izabella. Wonderful to have you with us. Let's have a conversation beyond the leading edge, beyond the conversation that's happening at the moment around spiritual lies and where we might be deceiving ourselves with the teachers that we're following and these sorts of things. Welcome. Tell us a little bit more about you.
Well, thank you, Anne. I am so grateful to be here and to be enjoying this moment and this opportunity to connect with you and everyone else. So I'm in a place in my life, I've done a lot of different things, and really what I've come back home to is connecting to what's true. Now, of course, that's going to be different for everyone, but I've found that there's an incredible power in that. And by actually asking ourselves what's true and letting go of any concepts, any ideas, anything we might be hanging on to that we're not aware of, that we're attached to, it allows those filters to drop off. And sometimes what we get shown in that place when we ask, and then we receive that information from within our own hearts, our own soul, it can be a little bit frightening, a bit challenging. So it makes sense that not everyone is ready to go there. And of course, it continues to unfold. But I personally believe that that's, getting really real and honest with ourselves is really important, particularly at this point where we've just it's not working to be living in those lies and those deceptions and all those places where we feel like, we could go a little bit deeper and confront that. But if we don't, we can't get away from that anymore. It's going to kick us in the ass. So that's something I'm really enjoying at the moment, my own journey, of course, and supporting others to go deeper with themselves and really live from that place of soul, because that's really where the satisfaction comes from when we can really feel our soul. And we need to strip away those layers, not in a forceful way, we have to go digging, but in a way that when it presents itself, then go have a look and feel.
So that sounds to me like you're describing a little bit about what I was going to ask you next, because you call yourself an emotional magnificence facilitator. Mm-hmm. I'd really like to dig into that a little bit, find out what exactly that means. What do you do?
Okay, so to me, I find that the emotions are a key to actually going into those deeper layers, not only just from a feeling perspective, but when we clear through actually embracing what we feel, we get the insights. We get like a clear channel to our soul where we can hear the awarenesses we need to have right now. So we tend to, there's so many ways we've been taught through a lot of conditioning to avoid certain feelings. But if we ignore any of those feelings, we kind of miss out on that deep journey. We don't get those gifts. We need to be able to surrender to those emotions. And so what I do is I hold space and take people through those journeys. Now, for 12 years, I've been doing that in a retreat format. I'm changing the format of how I'm doing that at the moment. So, but it is incredibly rich. It can be painful, not always, but it's very important to feel those emotions. Otherwise, you don't get that gift and you stunt your own growth. You don't get to live from your soul, and you don't get that warm, beautiful, rich feeling where you come out the other end of that journey, however long it takes. Sometimes it's only a very short period of time. Sometimes it's days, sometimes it's weeks. You come out and you know you're done. You feel grateful for the entire journey. And that's how we know that we're clear. If we've got any resentments or anything hanging around, we need to really look at that. We need to face that, and we need a safe space. So that's what I provide, is a safe space, because it's not something we can have, especially with the people in our life who could be the very source of our triggers, and they may not be ready to disassemble that co-creatively together. So we need a safe space. We need facilitators or ways that we're drawn to, just to allow you to unravel, not to tell you what to do, but to unravel the magnificence of these emotions. And the way I like to summarize it is that you are magnificent because of all your emotions, not because of your denial of any one of them.
I love that. And I think it's so, so important, because as you and I both know, and we're going to get into this juicy stuff, there are a lot of teachings out there that tell you to do just that, to just pretend that they're not there, to not face them, to not get in there and deal with them. And again, I stress, it's not about, as you said, it's not about getting in and digging and staying there and digging and digging and digging and digging, but rather going in when you're feeling it, dealing with it, and getting out again and continuing on with your life. But there are so many, on both ends, there are teachings that would have you spend an absolute crazy amount of time digging in, and ruminating and pondering and talking it out and all of these things. And then on the other hand, there are the ones that would suggest that pretend they don't exist.
Yes, that's right. And you see that the opposite end of that spectrum. And really, if we trust ourselves and we trust our soul, we are going to have a nice balance if we allow ourselves, let ourselves fall into wherever we need to be, and know that that's okay. And watch that tendency where, yes, the mind can stay there and go off on its own tangent with that. But really, true transformation is fairly fast in those moments. Like you say, we might come back in spirals and revisit an issue at a whole nother level, because we've integrated new information and awarenesses, and we look back at that from some other experience in our life, and suddenly we see it in a new perspective and we feel something, we might release something. So just allowing it is really beautiful, without having a concept of what's right and wrong, and really just starting with those emotions. They will lead you organically and authentically into the right journey. You really are going to be led by those emotions. If you stay connected in your body and stay grounded in your body, you will know when enough is enough, when you need to come out. You'll know when you're done, and you will naturally find yourself moving on and getting on with everything else, because all of it gets taken care of, I believe. All of it.
As I do, absolutely. So as you're talking about that, now we were specifically talking about emotions just then, but I want to put that same thought around teachings that we follow. You know, we can follow someone and really dig into their teachings and start living our life that way, and then we move out of it into something else. But there's a lot of the teachings where a lot of people get stuck there.
Yes.
And they can't seem to move on. They don't feel empowered to move on. And, you know, I know you're all about self-empowerment, as I am. How can we talk about that?
Okay, well, maybe it's a good time to share a little bit of my experience, because as a lot of people know, I was quite involved in the practices of the law of attraction, and they do have some truths and some validity. I want to say that up front. And I did that quite heavily for 5 years, and it was a blessing at the beginning. And what I started to notice, though, is even though I was manifesting a lot of amazing things, there was just something missing there for me in the whole equation, and I would question it. And about 6 months ago, I had a dream, and this dream woke me up in the middle of the night. And I had a lady that I knew from Facebook in the dream, and we were doing a healing. We were in a dark room. There was lots of dark swirling energy. And I remember just being in the dream, and there's a friend of mine on the table. She was in a critical situation, like on a massage table or a healing table. And I'm sitting there. As soon as the dream starts, I'm like, oh no, I don't want to be a healer. Come on. I don't want to do it, right? Because I'd been avoiding all of, like those kind of terminologies. And here I am in this healing situation in a dream. And so I was kind of taking the back seat. This other lady was doing whatever healing she was doing. And she is a real healer in life, not just in the dream. And suddenly something kicked in the dream. And I started to develop this sense of seeing white energy lines, like true white light above my friend who was on the table above her body. And something kicked in where I needed to speak. So the voice was really important, and I needed to show her how to anchor in that light to help her survive, basically. And it was an incredible dream. Something just came in, and I was pointing to where the energy lines are and the grids, and it was a gift I had that not everyone had. So in the dream, I was aware of that. And I just came into my own, really, to so to speak, in that dream. And the other lady kind of faded away, but her voice came booming out going, this is why you're needed right now. This is why you're here on the planet. I woke up just going, that was a profound dream. And I didn't quite understand the entire meaning of that. But what I've come to realize is that somehow, as I started to realize I need to speak my truth fully, not in this polarized way where we just talk about all the happy, good stuff, like all of it, like truly all of it. That's when I started to gain access to so much deeper understanding that was lying dormant because I was only tapping into this small part of myself for a while there when I was practicing those teachings, which were valid. But the power I've found of speaking my truth since then, and I continue to, and I'm grateful to do this right here today as well, is absolutely miraculous. Things shifted in my life that no amount of law of attraction or high vibing or focusing on the positives would ever shift. And it required me to just absolutely surrender, speak my truth to some people, and the most incredible miracles happened. Like I had let go of those miracles. I thought speaking my truth, that was it. I was just rebalancing the books, but I had things come back to me that had been taken away, people that had shut down that spoke up, like just amazing shifts, people getting it. And I had to allow some of that fierceness, because I think what comes in is there are unconscious fears of certain emotions that actually stop us. And so it becomes really nice to be attracted to all the positive stuff, because it can be an avoidance, right? Of, yes. Oh, I don't want to feel that. So it's very nice to follow some teachings where I can just get happy because I'm told that's all I need to do, right? But there's a whole other side, and there's accountability. Personal accountability, there's a deep satisfaction. I've personally gone and corrected everything I can, even though certain teachings tell you not to do that, just to move on and just get happy. It's like, no, for me, I have really connected to something so sovereign and so deep by actually apologizing or expressing, like rectifying some of the things that I ignorantly did in that place of being a guinea pig, of me being a guinea pig for the law of attraction teachings. And when I do something, I go hard. So it makes sense that I did it fully. I practiced it powerfully, but I do know we have a soul path, and it is not as easy as taking an unwanted experience and going, oh, I now want this. Because otherwise we would all, even when we shift our limiting beliefs, we would all be manifesting all the time. But really, we are on a particular path. We need to be able to face everything that is presented in front of us, rather than, in a way, having these preferences for, well, I think this is how it should look, right? We need to go deep, and that's so humbling and so beautiful. And I'm really grateful that I've taken that path, because as part of that truth, I asked myself, what is true? Every day I was asking, what's true for me now? What's true for me now? And that's such a big thing, is to ask and receive. And first it started with teachings that were very different in terms of personal development, NLP stuff, Tony Robbins, something I did 20 years ago. And I started getting new information when I asked for the truth. So I went, hang on, if that took me 20 years to look at that subject again and ask for the truth, and I've gotten this whole other perspective, and not to invalidate the other perspective, it's just about wholesomeness and keeping it all in our vision, and then navigating from our awareness where we want to take that, what we want to do with that. And so that night I went, wow, I gleaned a lot of interesting information from a deep place about Tony Robbins that came through when I asked for the truth. So I thought, what could I ask myself today about the law of attraction that could take me 20 years to find out? What could I find out now?
What a fabulous question.
Exactly. I went there, and basically the answers that came through shocked me, because I was so identified with that practice that, but I knew that I was more committed to truth than that identity. So basically 180-degree flips from a lot of things I'd been doing and practicing. And I had to follow that. I had to detox myself off those words, off that particular strain of a particular modality, and it's been amazing. It really has for me. Now, of course, wherever everyone's at is where they're at. I can only share from my experience. I can just see now, and other people are coming out of that, and I can see what's been happening, and I'm happy to share. So that's me. That's how I've come to this moment and the last 6 months.
And one thing that I've really noticed when I see you posting and sharing your truth as it is today, is that you get quite a few people who would want to drag you back into those teachings, or would suggest that you're only feeling this way today because you're not being in your happy place, so to speak.
Yes.
Yes. And you've been very firm, beautifully firm, I think, in your, this is now my truth.
Yes.
And don't try and put me back there.
That's right.
Which I think is very good.
What we have to realise is that, as you know, it's levels of awareness on our journey. We're all in different places, and as we come out of a particular level, we can look back and we feel we have something to offer. And some people are not ready or don't want to hear that. They want to stay where they are, and that's okay. But every time I've spoken directly, because I'm trusting, like I'm not censoring what I'm saying. This is part of that dream, just speaking as I need to speak. And I have the most amazing journeys. There is always a few people that get it, step through it, something happens for them. And I'm not doing it for anyone specifically. I'm just trusting that I'm doing what I'm called to do.
Yeah, beautiful.
Of course, there's a whole bunch of people that want to attack because or project their own inability to embrace those other emotions and whatever angst comes up for them and pain and what have you. And I will hold a space if I can, if I feel drawn to, but I also can feel if they're not ready, and I let it go, and I bless them and let them go for the journey that we've had. But yes, I'm really on this path now, and you can't hold me down.
And it's a beautiful thing to see, truly, because as we all lift our level, move up to the next level, if there was such a thing as up and down, as we all move to the next level, we bring everyone up to their next level as well. As we start speaking, then it kind of, we walk each other home is the expression I've been using so much lately. I don't know why, but that expression just keeps coming. So whenever we grow, everyone around us can't help but grow as well. Right. It's just simply one of those universal laws, isn't it?
That's right.
So
happening.
So now I know that you're going to be doing a talk at the Mind Body Spirit Festival here in Brisbane later this month, and it's called The Lie of Attraction, Going Beyond the Law of Attraction. I love it. I love the name, and I just want to let everybody know that if they're in Brisbane, to come along to find out when you're doing it. And by the way, I'll put all the details under the video, so if you're looking for the dates, that's where they'll be. I just think that we need to promote this. We need to start talking about this, whatever our truth is. And if it's about the lie of attraction, that's fabulous. If it's about the law of attraction and being the be all and end all, that's fantastic as well. Because we're all awakening, and we're all awakening in our own time. Everything that we go through in our awakening brings us to where we are today, right now. And you're incredibly happy where you are right now. I know that. I can see that. The passion, you've always been very passionate, but this has really got your passion at the moment, which is wonderful. So tell me a little bit more about the limits of the law of attraction.
Okay. So something I touched on before is that sense of turning anything that's unwanted, and that becomes what you now desire and what you want. And I just don't feel it's that simple, because we do have a particular soul path. We have certain things we need to integrate, and we're not necessarily here just to manifest everything that's out of accord. Sometimes we need to leave some of those things alone and come to peace with it as it is, rather than trying to manifest our desires. So that's one big one.
That's going to be hard for people to hear.
You think
because
so?
even this whole thing about manifesting,
Yes.
Manifesting money, manifesting this, manifesting that, manifesting the great love of your life.
Yes.
It's such an appealing concept that we can have control of that. And you watch people come into it and start doing the tools and then come out of it saying it doesn't work. So I think it's really important what you've just said, that there's so much more at play. There's so many other universal laws at play, the natural laws that say you have this journey to take and you'll get what you need for that journey. It might not be what you as a human being think you need, but you'll always get what you need along the way. You know that more and more as you take the journey.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly it. It's very seductive, that manifestation concept. It's incredibly seductive. And so I do ask people to have a look at what's really going on. Again, it's levels, isn't it? It's like you really want to tap into your heart and into your soul and get really honest with yourself about what you really want, and even let go of what you want. It's kind of deeper in terms of trusting and surrendering. And if you keep clearing those emotions that arise by embracing them and loving yourself and being really open and clear to the clarities and grounding yourself in your body and your physical care, you are going to get what you need to get in the moment. And then things will unfold in the most surprising ways. It's all there. It's all there to be experienced. We just need to walk ourselves through that by not running away from every little experience that is actually in front of us.
And you just mentioned love. And I think we have to love ourselves through it.
That's right.
That's where the ease comes from and the grace that this journey can be, because there's a lot of people out there who are having a hard time along this journey.
That's right.
And I think, to have them know that it doesn't have to be that way.
That's right.
If they would love themselves through it instead of beat themselves up through it or tell themselves that I mustn't be enough yet because I don't have that thing that I was supposed to be able to manifest.
Yes, that's right. That's exactly it. It's take the pressure off, because this is another little mechanism. I've got to see the best in people. I've got to do this. It's like, get rid of all of that. I mean, look, I can't, that's not fair for me to say that, but let's just say I've done that. I'm not doing any of those practices and my life is even better. Right? I'm still manifesting amazing journeys and I'm not doing anything of the sort in terms of feeling or visualizing what I want or flipping things over into my desires or that kind of thing. I'm just being grounded in each moment and going with that and loving. But you can't get to the real love. See, love can be a concept, this whole unconditional love. Yeah. It's got to become embodied, and you a lot of the time you can't just tap into it straight away. You need to love, yes, exactly. Those bits that you're trying to hide, they need to be loved. They really do.
They're showing themselves because they're saying, hey, love me.
Exactly.
And the minute I say to people all the time, people come to me and they've got closed hearts, or their heart is closed to some degree. And that's not just in a romantic sense, but to life. And I say to them every single time, you've closed your heart off so you don't get hurt. The funniest thing is that the minute that you open it so wide that there's nothing that's closed, you can't get hurt.
That's right.
You just can't. So if we had the ability to just open our hearts straight away, we'd all be great. But unfortunately, it's a journey.
It is a journey. And sometimes it's appropriate to keep our heart closed. That's boundaries. That's a huge aspect as well that doesn't get covered with law of attraction. It's kind of like everything's okay, like love everyone unconditionally. Actually, I've realized part of my healing has been to set boundaries and to protect and care for myself. And a fierce energy comes in. It's like that mother cub bear. It's instinctual, it's essential. And if we're trying to do all this positivity stuff, we might not allow ourselves to get the gift of that. So some people are going to try and do things that manipulate your energy, whether they're conscious of it or not. That's,
yes,
neither here nor there, but it's about what you do. And If you feel called to say something, don't be afraid to speak your truth. It will create the most amazing shifts in your life if you speak what you need to say to the person. And I think too, another aspect of the law of attraction, which I've turned it back around into something that's more meaningful, is this whole leave everyone alone or mind your own business kind of thing. It's, if you're called to care for someone, to say something, to call someone out, trust that. We've become so insulated, like we've got to do our own individual path and shift our own energy. Actually, a lot of it is done together in the most meaningful, magical ways if both people are willing to show up, or even if the other person doesn't fully show up, but you took that step, something else will transform in your life. Someone else will come in that will surrogate the rest of that process, and you will get that clearing. So it's really important to initiate. Let yourself be initiated by the fire of some of this pain, and do it. Face it. Go
Beautiful.
with it. Even if you muck up, that's okay. Practice, because it's not something we've been practicing a lot of. And I think this is where the divine feminine energy, as much as we think it's all sweet and nice and angelic, it's not. It's also very fierce, and that's something
protective.
I'm quite strong on that. And sometimes it's a collective thing. This last few weeks I've been absolutely surprised by things that have come in that I don't directly have any connection to in this lifetime, but I've been, feeling all this energy around pedophilia and satanic ritual abuse, and I've been feeling things that have been buried in the earth when I walk on the planet in places. And I'm like, wow, I've been so humbled by that. And I've just been going with that journey. So yes, let's not just insulate ourselves with just what's going on personally, but be open to offering and holding space for others in ways that we can't even explain or understand. Yeah. Just be part of that collective as well. So important to speak up and give other people permission to do that. And then we realize, wow, we're forming a grid, a bit like in my dream. This white light is for real being anchored into our bodies now, for real, through real conversation, through real speaking, and through real action. And that's another fallacy with the law of attraction I've found is get happy and then act. No, because guess what happens when you get happy? You forget about those things and you don't necessarily transmute them. I know I've gone through this cycle in a relationship that was abusive. You come into a better energy, which I knew how to do very well. I never dealt with what was really going on underneath. I never dealt with it properly at the time, because in that different frequency, you're immune, you're fine, you're invincible, but you're not necessarily dealing with it ground up. So that's another aspect. It's not about ascension. It's actually about descension and grounding our humanity, our care, our protection, showing up, all of those things that I know we all know. But I think this show of yours is fantastic because it is about spirituality and the leading edge. It attracts people of that nature, and I feel I need to just remind people of that, to stay in our physical essence.
Yes.
To ground that light for real, not just think you know what it is, but to live it in your body, to feel it. And that's where coming into our hearts and feeling our emotions, looking after ourselves physically. So cliche, but so true, and supporting our journey. We came here to do this, right? And to rock it.
Yes, and we came here to be a human being on the earth, bringing through those other aspects of ourselves that might take us to those higher vibrational places, but not from a neglect the human life, not from neglect everyone else in the world. And you do get to this vibrational place where you can still be in those happy places, but still be taking action towards serving the world, towards fighting for, so to speak, what you want to have the future be, because we're not happy with what's going on in the world. Yet some of these teachings that we're talking about tell you to turn a blind eye to it.
That's right. Turn the other cheek. No, that doesn't work. It really doesn't. Because I believe we all have a piece of the puzzle. And what we're passionate about, that's our journey. And that's what we support others. It's, the way I started my retreats and was doing them for 12 years was because of my own healing when I was 15 and I was anorexic and I was about to die, and I heard this voice in my head and I chose to live, and I realized all the patterns at the age of 15 that had contributed, and the self-talk, and I healed myself when no one else had been able to help me. So that was back then, that's what then made me say, I want to pass this on. I want to support others to get aware of their thoughts and to feel their emotions and to be loved and embraced. So, but that can change what we're doing. We need to be open to that as well. And I think this is a time of really taking it to that next level, speaking what is actually here for us now and seeing where that leads us. Even as facilitators, we're all on this journey together to walk each other home, as you say. Definitely.
And it's such an exciting journey, isn't it?
It
I know we talk and it's just like the energy is so high and we're just having so much fun in our lives. Even if everything's not perfect, we're still in that place of excitement, and there's so much that's possible in the possibility.
Possibility.
Yeah.
That's right. That's it. And being in awe of the whole journey, right? And keep yourself curious, stay open. It's an amazing opportunity, this whole life. And that's what we need to embrace, no matter how ugly some of it looks. There's a gift in it. There truly is. And I think if we can take that, and this is why I find anger is so powerful, because it's one of the first emotions that people might think is unpleasant. But it actually, that's the key to our passion. If we go with that anger in a conscious, aware way and we watch where it leads us and what it asks us to do, it's a point of action. And this is where a lot of spiritual practices actually encourage passivity. They encourage us to sit back instead of take it to that full level of take the action, whether it's speaking something or physically building, reconstructing. Like, how else are we going to transmute this if we don't fully step in and engage the physical experience? It's essential.
Exactly, because we can be in our non-physical selves and you can't take action from that place.
That's right.
But to bring that into the physical and then manifest from that, and manifest just simply means to make real in physical space.
That's right.
So if we're going to change the world, that's what we have to do.
Exactly. And we need to stay focused on that in the right balance, in the right way. Because something that I've realized is the non-physical energy is not an expert on human living.
Not at all.
Not at all. So we can't make our whole life about that. So we need to give spirituality the right kind of proportion in our life and not too much.
It's that balance, isn't it, that you talk about. And in fact, you were going to share with us 3 key practices for balance and wholeness.
Yes, I'd love to do that. So, and I've alluded to quite a few of these, which is nice because it'll get reinforced. So the first one is definitely truth. Funnily enough, I picked a card before this. It's just one of those one-word cards, and truth.
Of course.
Truth. And really ask for it. Ask for what you want to know at a deeper level. Speak it. So whatever comes through, speak it to the right person, share it on Facebook, put it into a book, do a work, whatever you feel called to do with that truth. And then that will lead into act on it. So that really gives you that triad, which is actually very well integrated in the body. So yeah, it's perfect. The second thing is grounding. So important. And that's what helps us come into that physical aspect more strongly. And some key things here that I've found is make sure you have a physical practice of care. And that might change from time to time, but every day give energy and attention to caring for your body in new ways or in ways that keep working for you. Very important. Also words. Like I had to detox off words like vibration and alignment. Like that just came part of my journey as that filter, that law of attraction filter fell off. I just found myself going, I don't need to use these words, because words will plug you into certain energies and intentions and what have you. That's a whole nother topic. But have a look at the words you're using and make them more normal, right? Speak more normal. Everyone can understand. So then you're not creating separation and elitism and cultism. Cultism, is that a word? Yeah.
It is now.
It is now. So it's important. So you don't split off parts of yourself, because you're also splitting yourself off if you're kind of favoritizing some of these spiritual. And I like the word, speaking of words, like spiritual lies. We're talking about spiritual lies today. If you spiritualize everything, you're doing spiritual lies, right? So changing your words. Also get real, like about the people that are present in your life, because they are the greatest gift. Now, if they're present in your life, they're a present to you. So be present with them rather than too much time on social media or, that tends to make us go up high into those higher realms. And so it's really important to stay connected to the people who are really in our life and our real friends. That's really important to share and connect rather than fly off into those other realms. And
Beautiful.
Space to reflect, that is so huge. So this is all part of grounding still. Take the space in your life to reflect so that you can actually maybe ask for a deeper truth, or you get an awareness, or notice your body is out of whack and you need to do something. So you stay connected to that inner guidance, but it's also constantly translating into anything you might need to enhance or change. So make sure there's enough space. Get rid of things that don't excite you and don't feel right for you anymore, so you can create more space in your life. Yeah. And then the third one, so we've got truth, act it, speak it, ask it, grounding, physical body care, your words, real connections, create space to reflect, and emotions. So feel them all. Allow yourself to feel them all. Find someone who can hold a safe space. And when you can hold a safe space for all of your emotions, you'll be able to do that for others. So there's going to be more and more of us being able to do this, which means there's going to be more authentic compassion, more care. We're going to start noticing things that are off. And we're going to be able to then bring in our truth speaking, right? So all these things
Beautiful.
come together, and it's just going to keep building and expanding and grounding itself in that way. So that's kind of the main three things that I currently recommend. Of course, that changes and morphs into different things, but that's what's
Yes.
now. Yeah.
Yes, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I think it's perfect for our viewers. I think you've given them some real solid stuff to do if they're needing to, Is there anything that you would like to, well, actually, just before I ask you that question, I just want to let our viewers know that your website will be included here so they can find you. Do you want to share that with us, just verbally as well, and anywhere else that they can find you out there in the world?
Sure. So my website is isabellasiodmak.com, my first and last name. And you can follow me on Facebook as well. I'm using my personal page at the moment. That may change down the track. So you're welcome to find me there and connect in that way. Thank you.
All right. Fantastic. So look, honestly, I could stay here and have so much more of this conversation with you. We could go on. And
Yes.
So I want to just say, perhaps we'll do this again in the future. If it feels good to do so at the time, we'll look at that option. But in the meantime, is there any one last thing that you would like to share with us, just around the spiritual bypassing, around the lies out there, the lies, the lie of attraction is what I'm trying to say. Or even just, I know that you talk a lot about energy vamping. Perhaps you'd just like to share a little bit about that with us, about what that's all about and how to notice it, how to see it, how to avoid it, how to not be it.
Sure. All of that, yes. So again, need to stay connected to ourselves. So if we notice something is off, now what can happen if we're following law of attraction is we think, we've got to find a better thought, and we leave it at that. But actually, no, if we feel into what's off, there's a whole different journey, and it usually will bring you to discovering parts of yourself where you might be selling out. So that's where you're giving permission for someone to play a game with you, to take or to exchange energy in a way that's not necessarily healthy. Now, it's not about making anyone wrong, but it's about getting more aware. So definitely there is an imbalance in the way energy is used. And so as humans, there's places we might be grabbing at energy, wanting to take, and we're not aware of that. So I really encourage people to get honest. If something feels icky in your body about the way someone is treating you, or they're demanding too much time or energy, or wanting something but doesn't feel like an equal flow, that needs to be rectified. So you need to speak your truth, and if they're not willing to change that or look at that, then you need to take action, because it's unconditional love for yourself. And you can't always love everyone else. You're not necessarily supposed to give unconditional love to everyone. you got to love yourself. So yeah, I mean, look, it's a huge topic. It's something I've definitely had some interesting experiences with.
Yes.
And I can say that in my last experience of this, where someone was kind of trying to take lots of advantage, let's say, a man, it was only when I started speaking my truth fully, I called him out on his on his Facebook business page. And I was done at that point. That was, for me, it was like, this is me rebalancing the books and making it known that I had given him plenty of chances to clean up from his side and to square up the energy with a certain exchange. And no amount of positive thinking or seeing the best in him had shifted that. But when I actually put that, because I felt led to do that, and I wrote that on his wall, I knew he'd delete it, that's fine. But I felt clear. I cleared my energy. 2 days later, he rang me. After months of blocking any communication, he rang me and basically apologised, the exchange got rectified, which was amazing. I wasn't even expecting it. And he apologised. He said he'd been doing that from ego. So anything can change. I wasn't expecting that because, I felt clean and clear by speaking my truth, but it was quite miraculous. So I just encourage people to get honest and speak your truth, and then just allow, without any expectation, allow things to change. And at the very least, you'll have new people come into your life that will reflect the shifts you've made in yourself. And yes, protection is needed. You need to, which is where boundaries come in. So let's not be under the illusion that it's all okay and it's all in the name of enlightenment, all these experiences, because actually we need to care for ourselves. And also we give them an opportunity to care for themselves. This person got really honest with himself and his behaviors, and he said, that he realized all the things I'd said were true. So it's powerful. We serve each other, and it was just a beautiful, mind-blowing moment for me that I didn't expect, just from simply, if I hadn't taken that action to call him out, I wouldn't have experienced this deep humbling where I had gratitude for him now, whereas before it was stuck. Energy hadn't shifted, and it needed to happen in a different way for that to clear.
Yeah. So from my perspective, when I hear that story, it makes me think that when I'm giving myself unconditional love by taking the action or voicing what I need to, then that comes back at me, which leaves space for me to feel unconditional love for the other person anyway.
Yes, that's
so
right.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for coming and joining us today. And we will absolutely be inviting you back. And thank you so much for watching another Transformational Conversation, where we take the conversation on spirituality, universal laws, and consciousness beyond the leading edge. We'll see you again next week.